Welcome to my channel. If you've come here, you're going to see something special. Have you ever wondered how a simple idea, born out of desperation, could transform into a global hospitality giant valued at over $100 billion? This is the unbelievable story of Airbnb, a company that started with just a few air mattresses on a living room floor. It's a tale of near failure, relentless hustle, and a pivot that changed travel forever. Our story begins in 2007 in a San Francisco apartment. Two roommates, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, were struggling. They were broke, unemployed designers, and their rent was due. Staring at their empty bank accounts, they noticed a big design conference was coming to town, and every hotel room was booked solid. In a moment of creative desperation, they saw an opportunity in their own living room. They pulled out 3 air mattresses, created a simple website called Air BNB, and offered a cheap place to crash, complete with a home-cooked breakfast. To their surprise, they got 3 guests, each paying $80 a night. The rent was paid, and a groundbreaking idea was born. This was their zero moment, the humble beginning of what would become a revolution. But the journey from air mattresses to a billion-dollar empire was anything but smooth. After their initial success, growth stalled. The Air Bed and Breakfast concept wasn't catching on. Desperate for funding and attention, they came up with a wild idea during the 2008 presidential election. They designed and sold novelty cereal boxes called Obama O's and Cap'n McCain's. In a bizarre twist of entrepreneurial spirit, they glued together 1,000 boxes by hand and sold enough to make about $30,000, keeping the company afloat. Even with this scrappy success, investors weren't convinced. They were rejected by almost everyone. One famous investor even walked out mid-pitch. Their rejections were piling up, and it seemed like their air mattress dream was deflating fast. The turning point came when they were finally accepted into the prestigious startup accelerator Y Combinator. The program's founder, Paul Graham, was initially skeptical, but was won over by their sheer tenacity, famously saying, "You guys are like cockroaches. You just won't die." It was during this time that they identified a critical flaw in their model. The listings had terrible, low-quality photos. No one wanted to book a room they couldn't see properly. So, in a move that no scalable tech company would advise, Chesky and Gebbia flew to New York, rented a professional camera, and went door to door, taking beautiful photos of their hosts' apartments themselves. The results were immediate. Bookings in New York doubled, then tripled. They had found the key. Trust is built on quality. And in the digital world, professional photos were the ultimate currency of trust. This was the pivot that ignited the rocket fuel. Renamed simply Airbnb, the company began its explosive global expansion. From a handful of listings in San Francisco, it grew to thousands, then millions in virtually every country on the planet. Animated maps would show the Airbnb pins spreading like wildfire across continents, from major cities to remote villages. Graphs would depict a hockey stick curve of exponential growth in users, bookings, and revenue. They had created a new category of travel, empowering ordinary people to become micro-entrepreneurs and offering travelers authentic, local experiences. They didn't just build a company. They built a global community, turning spare rooms into a worldwide network of hospitality. So what can we learn from the Airbnb story? First, your biggest problems can hide your greatest opportunities. Second, never underestimate the power of hustle and doing things that don't scale. And finally, building trust is the most valuable asset you can have. They didn't just sell a room, they sold an experience. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next deep dive into the origins of the world's most iconic companies.